Mic test, mic test, mic test. Mic test. What's happening? Mic test. Is YouTube side going well? Is Twitch side going well? Hello everybody. Okay, so if my mic is working right now, if you're watching this in the future, just know everything I talked about will be timestamped in the comments and in the description. Today we'll be going over, what's it called? Today we'll be going over Eternal Prime, which I'm not in right now. Hold on, give me 1 second. Yeah, today we'll be going over Eternal Prime, as well as all of the collab pilot that have come along with the collab. So, yeah, that is what we're gonna be doing today. Oh, hello, welcome, Snake, welcome. Oops, hold on, I don't know why hold on. Yeah, there you go. Does it show everything? Yep, there you go. So we're going over all of the new pilots that come with the collab. Remember, this is the wave 1 of the collab. There will be another wave where Echo Vessel will be coming soon and such. But today we'll be going over all of the thing in the wave 1 as well. The background music is a little bit distracting for some reason. Okay, anyway, yeah, today we'll be going over everything in the wave 1 of collab, and I'll be taking into account what might be coming in the future. So this reminder, in my opinion, Eternal Prime is definitely good, but when you compare to the future units, you know, it might not, like, you might have to, you know, start to decide, you know, on what you want to do, and depending on if you get any rolls, or if you get any Eternal Prime from the collab as well, or from the roulette as well. So, but anyway, I also want to keep this stream short, so I don't want to, like, I don't want it to be too long, so I want to get into it sooner. But for now, let me make sure my stream is going well first. All right. How's my stream going? Mic test. How's my stream going? Mic test. Okay, it seems like it's going well. I'm really hoping it is the same on Twitch. If it's not, let me know. All right, so let's get started. So let's start with let me see, what should I start with? I think I should start with the pilots, because that I can put, you know, get them through pretty fast. But yeah, so pilots, the free pilots we got is Shizuru. Now this is the now this is the only pilot that is, how do you say it, that is somewhat relevant in terms of the meta, right? In terms of using in the meta, because she have the active skill that is greatly increase the speed and speed recovery of for 10 seconds for all allies. Now combine this with her last skill that once every 30 seconds grant a renewal of the active skill again, essentially giving her infinite active skill. And when you pair this skill along with refresh core, which refresh core is this thing, when you pair the thing with a refresh core, where is refresh core? Yeah, when you compare to the refresh orb, it will give you 2 tries instead of 1. You know, during every time it gain a new use chance of the active skill. Meaning every 30 seconds it can have 2. Like it will have 20 seconds of giving all of your allies with incredible buff. This skill is even worth to use in PvP as well, depending on where you are, as a burst option. But it really shines in top PvE because, you know, you were just constantly giving all of your DPS and all of your ally an insane amount of speed and CD recovery buff for 10 seconds. So this is and sadly, or maybe good for most player, that this is the only pilot that matters in this collab, or that have any how do you say, they have any meta relevancies, right? And this last skill, and you don't even need to pair it with refresh core, because you can actually use another active skill as her Copilot. That means she can also spam, well, not infinitely of the, I mean, it definitely infinitely, however, she can also be spamming the other active skill, you know, that will come after her main skill every time the active skill refresh. It's not as consistent in terms of like spamming constantly, but it is the best we really got in terms of, you know, having someone else's active skill being spammed permanently. So yeah, this is really the only thing that really matters for this pilot, and sadly it is the only thing that really matters. And the other two skill is not too bad, especially for a free pilot. The grenade is pretty good. Probably wouldn't be that much of an effect in terms of the bigger bosses, but in terms of just your normal PvEs and stuff, it's just something good to have. The defense as well. The good thing that both of them can be cold, especially with them giving a good amount of final damage value, as well as final damage received decrease. So if she ever got out of favor, like her infinite active skill thing become not as useful, she's still a very viable Copilot skill that can use for just a just normal stats increase. So very great that this is the free pilot that they will give you from just playing the event. And yeah, everyone, you should definitely get this unit. It'd be very good, even if you're using as a main pilot. So yeah. And and defense will also break through enemy lines while being invincible. Now I don't really know if how good this skill is in PvE, because again, from what I've seen, I don't think this skill is utilized that much. But I would say most of the time people just use this Copilot skill as the damage received. But maybe in the future meta, this skill might be come in handy sometime. Now I'm not sure which meta that will be, because most of the time you want your mecha to be spamming actions instead of something else. But at least it is invincible during it, so hopefully it can be immune to some CC as well. But anyway, yeah. So very good pilot, very good free pilot. Now the other two pilot is both paid, or not paid, but like you need to recruit them from either gacha, or you need to recruit them from bars, and you don't need any of them because they look good, they have very long skills that really doesn't matter at all, which is kind of funny. I don't want to go into too much detail. So the only one that I really want to talk about is that again, all these pilots can use infinite active skill, and for her, like, one good thing about her is that she can use her active skills, like she can use her infinite active skills sooner than other pilots, or the other two of the pilots, because for her last skill, the resonance, she'd have the lowest amount of, I guess, cooldown in terms of giving her another active skill use. So potentially you can use this pilot to spam more of an other active skill perhaps, but that is probably the extent of probably the extent of the usefulness of this unit. I mean, her bird thing is pretty cool, but again, it's pretty RNG. And the Copilot skill, aside from the attack one that give the damage value increase by 20%, is really not. It's really nothing too special. I guess the every 3 second if we lose control is good, but there's already very good boss CCs in today's meta, so not really nothing really special, and mainly just for so not really too worth it. But this pilot is probably more worthy than the last pilot, which is probably the strongest looking pilot out of all of them. But she is probably the most it's not even useless, but it's probably the most I don't know how to use this unit, because again, she's very standalone. Like, it doesn't feel like any of her skill really kind of synergize with anyone. And all of her skill already have like a better alternative, in terms of the mecha and the pilots that we have today. She have the ability to heal people, give them buff, and as well as just CC, 4 CC enemies, which is cool skills, but into this meta, it's not really that great anymore. So nothing much else to say about this unit. Not a good Copilot. All of her skills are also take very, very long in order to being able to use it. So not really that great. So I guess I don't. Once every second. So her infinite active skill also isn't. I don't think it will be faster than the other units, the other Copilots or the other Collab pilots. So also not that great. So anyway, out of the 3 pilots that we have for the wave 1, only the free one matters. So don't worry, you can save on the you can save on the bar, you can save on gems on the thing, and save for Nicola, especially if you're gonna get Echo Vasa. Meow meow, 欢迎喵喵喵喵喵喵。So yeah. Alright, so that should be it about the pilots. And for the build for her, right? For the build for her, I think I should showcase her right now. So because she's the only one that really matters, let me just build her real quick as a PVE, you know, as a PVE usage. If you're gonna be using it with, you know, the, if you're gonna be using it in a team. So where is her? Where is she? So we're gonna Shizuru, and then you want her to be on a support because, you know, she's not the DPS. So let's see what is a good support unit. Let's say we put it on, no, hold on, because Ian doesn't have, yeah, Ian doesn't have spikes, or so let me put it on like a basic support. Hold on, then put on a basic support skill, right? Basic support unit. So let's say let's say Bahama is funnelable. Yeah, both Lycoris and Bahama is funnelable. Is there a not funnelable support? I don't remember. You know what? I'll just put on Bahamut. Why not? No, hold on, because Bahamut would want to be with Charlotte. Jesus Christ, I don't know. Okay, yeah, I'm putting it on Lycoris. Why not? Yeah, I'm putting her on Lycoris. So what you really want to do is just a refresh core. Make sure you have it at maximum things, and then you have the active skill over here, like so you can charge your active skill. Then, you know, the bullet and such, these are just mainly for, you know, for the mecha that you want to use it on. And of course, you know, the pet, depending on what you need, you know, sometimes you want this one, something you want the other one, or something you want the lifesaver. But and then special skill probably you can use something as you can use things like die, right? If you want to spam, like, or depending on the mecha that they're using, right? But you actually, I actually don't know. Like, probably just something for PVE. Yeah, something for PVE that you can, I guess, buff up the teammate as well. So from my understanding, what you can do is you can use this one. You can use her. Where is she? Now, Ian doesn't have her yet, obviously, but you know, she is a useful unit because her last skill can give a action cooldown or action speed up for the, you know, for the enemy. Or you can just use something more, if there's any skill that does, like, I don't know, gets more SP or something like that can work as well. But yeah, something that can buff teammates, either something like that, or something like defense, where you in case if your units are dying, you can use a defensive skill in order to exist for longer. I think I know something that I can be used for Copilot. I don't remember, because I haven't really built this yet in NC. But yeah, just some skill that can help out teammates, because, you know, again, she's a support. So actually, yeah, hold on, use yeah, her, she can work as well, because, you know, she can CC the boss with this skill, which is, hold on, for those who might not know, she is this pilot. Where is she? Wait, hold on. What is her default skin? She is this pilot. So if you want to use her special skill, that can work as well. I think there are even more. Yeah, there are even more. You know, just your usual support skill for against bosses, either boss CC or something that can buff a teammate, and that should be good. So that should be it. So now let's get into Eternal Prime. So Eternal Prime, I can say a good unit. She got, he got everything covered. You got a good amount of HP. And its first chances ensure its survivability, because, you know, every 4 seconds it can charge one charge that can essentially make him be immune to damage for 2 seconds while also damaging the units around it. So pretty good. Basically got survivability covered. The only thing that is really missing is probably just like a HP recovery skill, which you can easily remedy that by, you know, building your team well, or just having a pilot that can have more sustainability in the team. So, and then this mecha also got its offensive ability covered by, you know, thunder damage, you know, value plus 40%, and final damage value dealt will also for self-made attack will also be plus 80. So it doesn't matter, you know, how many, so, or usually it doesn't really matter how many, you know, defense or how many, you know, percentage it lowers. It will always have a 80, it will always do, you know, 80 damage per hit essentially. So it's just, you know, again, pretty awesome in terms of meta. Now, it's not something like, it is not something to a level of like, you know, Yuehua, where it just removes your HP percentage. Because, you know, if you're using this on 0, then it wouldn't do damage if, or it really wouldn't matter because the amount of HP and of course, you know, how do you say, and you might not even go over, you know, the threshold. I mean, I think it's pretty easy for Eternal Prime to go over zero threshold, but I'm just saying as like, you know, it got its DPS covered against everything that doesn't build for HP, and it should be good. So, and of course, in additional, or it will also inflict additional 50% of the impact damage upon nearby enemies. Now, basically, whoever Eternal Prime is whacking, right? Whoever Eternal Prime is whacking, the damage from that mecha that's been or the damage that that mecha has been taken, 50% of those will be inflicted upon nearby enemies. Now, keywords nearby, because it is a lie as it covers almost an entire stage. That means if you hit someone for 1000, everyone on the stage will be inflicted by 500 damage. And this is not like an attack, you know, for those, or this is not like an attack for the for those other units who can dodge or something. No, this is just applies onto enemies as like a true damage. That means if, for example, if you are using Qitian, you know, with all of his clones and such that have no parts, and Eternal Prime bashed one of the clones, and that, let's say that does 5000 damage, then everyone on the field would also take 2500 damage that is unnegatable by anything, like by any defense ability, by any, you know, stats differences. It will just inflict them onto everyone. Even on your built-to enemies, and it doesn't matter how much you built to enemies, they will still take that damage. So essentially, it got its DPS covered, I should say. Like, it's most of the DPS might not even be coming from the unit that it is whacking. It will be coming from the impact damage that is applied to everyone on the field, that based on the damage that the one that he's whacking does. So it's a pretty good skill, especially when it can move in time stop or in time seized. So that means, like, how do you say it? Like, during time stop, let's say if enemies are using time stop, or if we are using time stops, right? Once the time is stopped, Eternal Prime will be free to also whack the enemies, and again, all of those damage that have been whacked would be, and all the damage that have been dealt will also be applied to pretty much all the enemies on the field. It just I don't know, like, it's very effective on clearing or on anti-time stop team, and also being used in time stop teams, because it can just make, I guess, if the enemy doesn't have Eternal Prime, and they use time stop team, they will just lose essentially. If you have Eternal Prime in the team, or if they rely on the time stop team, right? And if you are using time stop team against a team that doesn't have Eternal Prime, then you will be using how do you say, or I guess then you can probably burst them pretty easily, because again, once time stop, Eternal Prime can probably just wipe out, you know, their team based on this impact damage and such. And of course, depending on who is whacking, like if Eternal Prime is whacking, say, Xianglong plus Hongwu, then it probably might not do much damage, because, you know, the target for Eternal Prime has to be someone that will take a bigger amount of damage in order for this effect to be well. However, if you think of, like, if you look at Eternal Prime's attack, most of its attack are just huge AoEs that can cover like half the stage. That means a lot of the that means a lot of the clones, especially like if enemy are using Qitian, right? A lot of the clones will be taking huge amount of damage as well, because again, those clones don't have parts. So because those clones are taking so much damage, it can like, if you ever wonder why Eternal Prime wipe out your entire team in PvE, you know, in the boss conquest, is because it probably hit a clone. It probably hit a clone, and that dealt a massive amount of damage to all of your allies, and it just wiped out all of your team. Not because Eternal Prime is hitting your teammates, it's because Eternal Prime are hitting the weaklings or the unit that will take a lot of damage in order to, you know, in order for it to, you know, apply those impact damage onto all of your allies and just wipe them out. So yeah. So both damage, yeah, both in damage is covered, yeah, both damage and both, yeah, both survivability and both damage is covered. Pretty awesome. And now onto its weaponry, I got long handle melee, which is pretty good to have, because, you know, it is good. Like, there are CC parts for it, but you usually probably wouldn't be using the CC part for it, because it also has fist melee. Fist melee is good because, you know, you can use super robot fist on it if you want to have it fight Zero, which I don't think is even that good anymore. And of course you can use claws on it, that you can just, you know, use it to, you know, get the sustainability that it needs for you to, you know, steal health from the enemies. So pretty good. And of course, if you don't have the fist, you can still also just use absorption shell for you to get the HP back. So pretty good. And now on to its unique abilities. Now its unique ability, it's really good to a point where it doesn't need force grab. Like, I don't think you have any force grab outside of its counter. If anything, it would, like, if anything, the grab would be minuscule, because what it matter is the wap might, the map wide force knockdown. So yeah, it doesn't really need grab at this point, when you can just, you know, make everyone on the field goes into just lie down and take the hits. So yeah, even on CT department, it is also very, very good. And usually if the enemy doesn't have any get out of skill, you know, if the enemy doesn't have any get out of gel skills, or if your Eternal didn't get one shotted, before you can use, you know, these kind of like these force enough skills, then, you know, it can potentially just, you know, kill delete the enemy team, just like how the boss delete your PvE team. So yeah, pretty good. It's actually, and I think it's much better now that Mecha like this doesn't rely on grabs, because, you know, even force grab now are not that safe anymore against, you know, force action that can get out of the gel and potentially kill you instead. Like, you know, kill the attacker instead. This one just initially just knocking everyone are, I think, much safer now in terms of, you know, compared to going in for a grab to do damage. So yeah, pretty good. So Eternal Prime, pretty awesome. A unit that covers basically it's a mecha that can do everything by itself. You don't really need to build this unit in a certain way. Like the build is mainly just to improve it even more, and this also makes it very not picky about what pilot that you put it on. So even for new pilot, this unit will be very, very good. The only downside is that, I guess, the only downside really is what comes in the future. This unit is good in everything almost, or everything that is melee based. Like, if you're fighting if you're fighting against unit that doesn't have any like hard melee counters, like for example, if you're not fighting against, like, as long as you're not fighting against something like Hongwu Xianglong, then it should be fine, right? And I guess, yeah, and of course, if it's not against Yuehua Hongwu, because Yuehua Hongwu can still blast this unit pretty quickly, especially when especially when Echo Vasa comes in as well. So, but aside from that, which, you know, those things most units are weak to, so it's not really like a downside. But again, the only downside is just that, again, future units, the future metas that come pretty soon will push this unit, you know, will push this unit down a little bit. However, there is like a silver lining, because this unit can be used in PvE as well. Like, if you want to use this unit as a DPS for normal attribute, it can definitely do that. Like, it got big damage, it got good CCs, it again can just live, and you don't need to worry about too much about it. but again, it is, even though it can be used in PvE, it is not the best in PvE because, you know, the usual KT have way too much damage support for it to not be number one. And once Glowing Light come out, it will also just, you know, like Glowing Light beats KT's like the fire team, so it kind of just makes Eternal Prime kind of third place essentially in top PvE. It's like good at everything, but also not the best at everything essentially. So that should be it about Eternal Prime explained. Now onto the builds. So the builds, also for those who might not know, I do have a build test on Eternal Prime or on your Prime, and this is my my thought about on it when it's released. So definitely check this out if you want to see how it was back when it released. So, and yeah, now it's in the builds. Now again, pilot doesn't really matter. The pilot, you can like just use whoever you have left. Like after you build a team, like after you put your home whoop, after you put your Nicola, after you put all of your units on like a mecha that you need to use, or on a mecha that needs those pilots, then whoever pilot you have left, it can be Disaster, it can be Byron, it can be even Hongwu if you somehow don't have a unit that needs Hongwu, right? It can use so much of those, you know, different units because it just doesn't care. Like it doesn't matter who you put it on, it will just perform its job. The only thing you need to worry about is just kind of like the usual build and like how to make him do more damage and how to, you know, make him sustain even more. So, and so onto builds. So builds, I'm using Hydraulics because Hydraulic can effectively make him spam more of his, you know, map-wide knockdown moves and such for you to do more damage. Because again, it's damage. It got its damage covered. You don't really need any damage increasing. Like it says you can use this one, but again, this you don't need it. You really don't need it. I mean, you can have it, but I don't really think it matters. Like I think it's better to spam even more. Like it's better to spam even more. Of your X ult, because even if you're not doing any damage, you can still be AoE knocking down, you know, everyone. So yeah, Chin as well. Chin, you know, Chin that works as well. So yeah, just whoever you have left, right? Whoever you have left. Now onto its bullet. Actually, hold on, yeah. But aside from these two, you can also use something like this one, like this Sun Core looking thing, or some other ones. However, in my opinion, I still think using like a action cooldown ones are still better because again, its action are pretty good, even just for CCing, so it should be pretty good. And now in terms of the bullets, I'm using Claw because Claw can effectively or can get some of its HP back, which it does need because it doesn't really have any HP regeneration tools, so that's why I'm using Claws. And if you don't have Claw, you can obviously use Absorption Shell. And let's say if you somehow got, you know, the sustainability down, you can use something like this one for more CCs if you want to. But for me, I'm just using Claws because, you know, it is a way to get, you know, HP back. Now on the support, you can use the new support part. Now this new support part are actually pretty good, but again, it is not a necessity, but it is something that you probably should get a few. If you're a top player who have a lot of, you know, resources left, you can probably get 2 or 3 just for future meta. I'm using it now just as a showcase about it, and plus, you know, this unit does go into enemies a lot, so yeah, pretty good. And but if you don't have the, you know, drill, if you don't want to use a sunbat on a drill, you could always use something like, you know, the batteries, which can be pretty good at, you know, just adding even more survivability onto its already good survivability against not Yuehua. Because again, Yuehua can still wipe you out if it got a good shot on you. So, but aside from that, you can still use other things. Like for example, there's some anti-CC units, like, or just, you know, even emergency detach. Let's say if the enemy are using something that can burst you a lot. But again, I think the best one for now is just either the drills or the batteries should be fine. I'm gonna put batteries here just because I think because batteries is more accessible even after collab ended, because you know the drill is collab only, so if you want to get a drill, you probably should get it now before collab ends. So no, I think the collab will last for a good while because you know Ekavasa is coming in next month, I think. Yeah. So now onto its armor. Is armor just from steel? It's usually just from steel because unless you're using Copilot skill as a firm steel, I will just go for firm steel just for, you know, just for safety, I guess. Safety against, you know, if you're fighting against someone units that can have a lot more final damage value and such. But however, let's say if enemy are using range spam, like spamming with Yuehua Hongwu or spamming with Echo Bazaar or something like that, and your Eternal Prime is getting wiped out very fast, then you can probably consider using, you know, the shield armor for you to. This won't save you. Like, this won't save you from a direct shot from, you know, from the main cannons of Yuehua, but it can protect you from getting killed by the smaller bullets that will be coming at you, which will all be applying the effects of Yuehua's or Echobasa's and such. So something like this can potentially work as well. Just make sure you have a firm shield somewhere else as well, just in case. But if not, like, if you're finding you don't need firm shield, then that can work as well. But I'm putting firm shield here just in case, you know, for safety, right? For safety, because I think overall firm shield is more is more versatile compared to something like, you know, this armor, especially if if the meta ever go back into full melee or something like that, which I don't think so, because some of the range units are pretty strong now. And now onto coatings. Coating, you can. I'm using Gaia because there's additional heals for Eternal Prime, because, you know, this build right here doesn't really have any anti-CCs, which most builds right now don't have any anti-CC or will rely on the pilots for you to anti-CCs. So I'm just adding Gaia just for, you know, when you get knocked down, which your Eternal Prime might happen a lot, and you can heal a little bit, and you can also have, you know, defense increase when you get knocked down, so that's pretty good. But if you don't have Gaia coating, you can always use something like the S coating. You can also use something like, or if you, let's say if your Eternal is being bursted, you can obviously use, you know, liquid armor if you want to. And if you really don't have anything, you can obviously use something like turtle armor. And let's say if your Eternal Prime is the only tank in the game or in your team, then you can obviously use something like what's called this taunt armor. If somehow I wouldn't, because you know, like, in top meta, Eternal Prime can still be one-shotted by Yuehua, so I wouldn't really want to do that, but it is an option if you're not in top arena and you're not facing against the stupidly strong PvE or the stupidly strong PvP bosses at the moment. So yeah. And then now on to its pets. Now the pets, I'm using Pisces or the fish thing because I'm using a support pilot on it. Because I'm using a support pilot on it, I'm using the fish so it can, you know, survive a little bit longer. Because at this point, or at least for this build, the job, I guess, or if I want to have more survivability, I'll probably use a Sun Core. But because I'm using, but this is kind of like hybrid, I guess. Like, it can both spam action and it is a support pilot. But I'm just using Pisces just in case. You know, sometimes. Again, Eternal Prime is not invincible to being bursted by Yuehua, as I said a million times. So I'm just using Pisces just for safety reasons, in case if it does. But let's say if you're using someone who is more offensive on it, like let's say if you're using like Byron. Now Byron, I think is also better to use Pisces on, because just because of the nature of Byron, it can get, you know, Pisces back a lot. But let's say if you're using someone like this one, then you don't need to worry about its survivability even more, because, you know, Byron can already help it survive even longer. So you can, in this time, you can probably do more damage or more CCs by putting Scorpion on for you to do more, you know, stuff, you know, more CCs. And of course, if you want to put Cancer on, you can as well, or you can have it as a carrier for, you know, for the CC pets that can definitely do that as well. But I'm putting back Pisces because, you know, Pisces, I think, because I'm pretty sure your pilot putting, or most people's pilot putting on this will be support pilots, because your Byron, your Hongwu will be on something else that needs those pilots instead of Eternal Prime, where it doesn't need anything. Eternal Prime doesn't need a pilot for it to work. So yeah, that's pretty good. So so now on its Copilot skill, I didn't put one in here because, again, it depending on a pilot, essentially depending on a pilot, depending on what you have on a pilot. Now, if you're using a support, then you probably want to use something more survivability, like something. Let's say you want to anti-burst, right? If you, that you can just use something like the good old Death Struggle. The Death Struggle can just help you not get one-shotted immediately if that happens. I mean, Death Struggle is not really that strong anymore, but it is still something that can use potentially for your Eternal Prime to not get RNG death immediately. But if not, if you want to use something that's more modern, of course, this, you know, this pilot that's not in EN yet can potentially help as well, because it is kind of staying true to the support carrier, because this support skill or her support skill can buff all of the allies, so that's pretty good support carry here. Again, just another support skill for your team. And of course, you can just use someone else again. So if you're Eternal Prime styling a lot, use something in defense. Like you even use something like a Firm Seal here. Use a Firm Seal here and use the shield armor here if you want to, or just use something that's more defensive, right? Which I'm gonna think of an example at the moment. Because pretty sure everyone knows like the good defensive skill at this point. I don't know, something like where is it? Something like kind of special skill that increase damage and anti-CCs that can be pretty good as well. You can even use her defense as well if you want to, because these are more anti-CCs, right? So yeah, anti-CCs, more defense ability, something like that can all work. The thing about anti-CC is that because it goes to invincible every 2 seconds, so like it essentially can cleanse itself most of the time for 2 seconds. So I'm not sure how good anti-CC would be in this case, but it is something that you still can put on if you want to. You can even use Lyoma's knockdown heal thing that can work as well. So pretty big options. And let's say if you're using something like Byron, right? Like let's say you're using Byron and you want to use even more spams, you can obviously use something like the G-Stone from the Gaga pilots. Right? The G-Stone can definitely work for you to spam even more of the trains, to spam even more of the things, or you can just have it as a usual love carrier, or just some support skill carrier that can work as well, or even just burst carriers if you want to, right? Or just some other support skills for this unit to be carried. Because again, this unit does not need special crazy skill for it to work, unlike some other units that really desperately needs the skill. It just depends. It just like it's a mecha that you can just dump wherever you have left on a team on and still be a very reliable, if not your top performer in a PvP team. So pretty good. So that should be it about the Planet skill, I think. Or this should be it about its builds, I guess. Of course, the builds here might change. Like for example, in today's meta, in Ian, if you still want to use this unit, you probably want to be using Matilda on it, because Matilda have the skill that can apply 1000 true damage onto enemies, and this skill can very effectively kill Feng Huang in his egg mode. So Matilda would be technically Matilda will be the most meta pilot at the moment for this unit, because it can just kill Feng Huang with it. But the thing is, it has to in the condition that Eternal Prime will survive. And again, from what is coming soon with Echo of a Saga and Nuke meta from Zeos, it is a pretty tough deal. So now also, if you want to, right, you can even use something like Tao. So you know how Tao do massive assassination damage onto the enemies, right? Now the assassin damage will probably be applied to the other units as well. So let's say your Tao does 10,000 damage onto one of the unit, one-shot them, right? Then all the other allies on the team will get, will also take 5,000 damage from that, will also take 5,000 damage that is unnegatable, which will be very, very powerful. And I think this strat is being used in Zenith right now, where, a lot of the strong units are being banned, making Eternal Prime ability to shine with Tao, especially when again, Tao is not really a good unit to exist anymore. It will be hard for it to exist with all the one-shotters right now, and the DPS, but Eternal Prime can at least be probably the most reliable one for it to stay alive, overall, without relying on some broken, stupid stuff like Hongwu plus, Xianglong and such like that. So, yeah. And of course, if you want to use it with Disaster as well. Now, I think in normal arena, people are using it with Disaster. I personally wouldn't really do that because Disaster have time stop immunity. Now, time stop immunity is not the reason that you're being used together. It's just a good unit to have on, because I mean, who else you have on this unit, right? That will be worse than disaster in, I guess, in like a future meta, right? And plus it can have access to all of the Copilot skill that can be a pretty good carry. But again, I'm just showing some of the examples of what people has been using. So yeah, I'm just yeah, actually a Chin right here that can work definitely as well. I'm putting it back to Saga because again, Saga, if you know Saga can be in here, you know everyone else can be in this unit. So yeah. But the thing, or one thing I want to say is that because like even though it can do everything, right, it is still, you know, scared to everything that every unit is scared of, you know, like Yuehua and such. So just I guess like, even though I've been praising this unit on like, you know, on saying, you know, that can do everything good and such, but you know, just know that it has the same weakness to everyone else in the game, which is bullshit. And bullshit is just, you know, the usual Ekavasa, the nuke meta that can be just wiping out everything. It doesn't matter how strong your units are. So, and Eternal Prime couldn't do that because just the nature of this unit, I guess. It's too balanced. It's a unit that is way too fair, that is also good, but it struggles like everyone else against BS that'll be coming in the future, or just BS now, you know, like Yuehua and Shanlong Hongwu and such. And I guess this can also tie into how to go against Eternal Prime. Going against Eternal Prime would just in this meta would just be you make your Yuehua shoot their Eternal Prime first, and that's it. And that's how you defeat that, and that's how you win against every single meta right now, is to just have Yuehua Hongwu, Yuehua whatever, blast enemy, done. So it doesn't matter, like it really doesn't matter what unit that they have at this point, because again, every units are weak to those things, and sadly that's just the meta right now. And you really couldn't, and there isn't really any counterplay to it. So if you really want to, like, there isn't really a way to anti Eternal Prime other than just, you know, kill Eternal Prime like how you will kill everyone else in this meta. Just spam them with Yuehua. So yeah, it's pretty simple, honestly. And then now on to its PvE builds. Now PvE builds is pretty simple, just sort of what damage. You're not going to be using this as a support or as a support carrier because, you know, it doesn't really offer anything. It's mainly just for damage. Its damage is, add damage parts on, and that's it. Yeah, you put it with Linda, you put it on all the things. For this one you can also use like a final damage increase pet. There are free ones like this one I can put in this one. Of course, and for the Cobra, so you can have this, you can have this faster actions, or you can just use something like more damage, for just more final damage and stuff like that. That can also work. So and I think that should be it about Eternal Prime. Do you guys have any more questions? Actually, hold on. I think I should go into its tank, right? Like the new tank that came with the collab. So where is it? The new tank that came with collab. New tank that came with collab. It's not here actually. Hold on. I think I put it. I think I find it over here. Also, yeah. Once you get 2,000, you can get this pilot. So, pretty good. Where is it? This one, I think this unit is pretty good in A rank arena. I'm not too sure. It does have firm seal, built-in firm seal, and it does, again, stop enemy every 4 seconds. So probably a pretty fun unit in A rank or in tank arena. But I think that's the extent of that. But I think it's still good to get if you're into limited arena, or just like, cause you probably might play limited arena sometimes. So it's just a good unit to have potentially to use it in tank arena, because their meta doesn't really change that often, considering it will only be the changing of the pilots, because we haven't got new tanks in for however long. So yeah, so pretty good. 600 HP though, pretty good for A rank too. Alright, so any more questions, guys? Any more questions? If not, I will just probably call it a day, so it ends pretty soon. The EP. Yeah, again, most of the range unit that kill things with, like your Yuehua, your Izanami, those are built to kill, right? Those things are built to kill, so you couldn't really stop them from killing your everything. So yeah, really wouldn't matter, to be honest, at this point. I need to find something though. Hold on, do I have any? while I wait for potentially more questions, I'll probably just roll Michael, because I do need Michael for my beam team. Which, how many Michael do I even have at the moment? I couldn't really see it. Michael. I have one. I have two Michael. Okay, I need one more. I think. I don't have a Michael on like at 2 stars, right? Hold on, give me 1 second. I don't have a Michael at 2 stars, right? I don't think so. Michael. I do not. I think. All right, so let me see if I can roll for one. Let me see if I can roll for one Michael and see if I can do that with the free rolls. So, Michael here, and then do 10. How should you save a Griffin? Oh well, whatever. I got a Michael. Awesome, great. I don't think I need more, right? I don't think I need more Michaels, right? I only need action. I only need the chassis, right? Chassis in action. Not sure how important is a thing. Is the where's Michael? Oh my goodness, hold on. I'll just beam. Just beam. Range. Alright, Michael. You know, doesn't seem like there are any more questions, so I'll probably just call it a day soon. Again, thank you all so much for coming by, and I'll see you guys probably when next week. Probably be streaming something. Yeah, don't think I need the thing anyway. So, alright, well, goodbye.